Hey there, it's the brand therapist Michelle B. Griffin, and welcome to your weekly personal brand therapy session. As a certified personal brand and PR strategist, speaker, and author, I'm here to empower you to put yourself out there so you can find clarity, build visibility, and grow your industry authority. I'm super excited you're here. Now let's get going with today's session. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's personal brand therapy session. I'm Michelle Griffin, the brand therapist. So this show is all about asking me questions. I've said many times, if you have a personal brand question, send them my way. I am happy to answer them. That's why today I'm really excited that this one came in from one of my longtime friends and connections, who's probably one of the most generous, gifted supporters on LinkedIn that I know of. She is Val Roskens Tews, and she is an incredibly talented and gifted writer that helps founders really turn their content into gold, if you will, with her golden anchor method. And one of the things I know, much like us, she struggles with, it's easy to help other people, but when it comes to us, oh my goodness. So this is today's question. How do you align your personal and business brand? How do you show up with both? And how do you juggle the content? Like, we need to be telling people our personal stories I've talked about, but we also need to talk about what you do. So how do you show up? And how do you do it so it's really helpful, forward-facing, not too self-promotional, but it's at a comfort level? So I'm going to dive into this very quick solo session today to help you out and give you some exact pointers and strategies, and of course, the actionable tip. So essentially what it is finding balance. A year ago this month, Michelle J. Raymond and I published the LinkedIn branding book, which in the next few episodes, I'm going to be giving you all back in help with that. I have not officially talked about that since my podcast was on hiatus during all that time. But the LinkedIn branding book is about the power of two, how to build your personal brand and business brand, take it out on LinkedIn, and really grow both. And that's what we are talking about today, aligning personal and business branding and then showing up with content. So essentially, we're going to talk about LinkedIn. That's the place I stay. Many of my listeners stay, but this can apply to other social media channels. You really want to showcase your professional expertise and your personal stories. Okay, LinkedIn just became 1 billion followers as of yesterday. As of this recording, they're introducing more AI reading and writing tools as we speak. There's never been a more important time to show up as you, be more personable. Tell the stories. Those are really going to get people's attention. Content is becoming a commodity. We need to hear stories. We need to hear lessons, things that Google and ChatGPT can't replicate. But I get it. You want to tell your stories, but you got to share the expertise. We've talked about this in a previous episode about being professional. I will link in the show notes to that. But you want to have a cohesive brand message and image that resonates with both. Now, how do we do it with content? Val asked, Michelle, do I post personally 3 days, 1 day? What's the split? It's a great question, Val. You really want to give a split of more helpful expertise, showing up with personal stuff, but you can always weave it in with what your business does. There's ways, what I call, to season it and sprinkle it in. The subtle nuances that people are getting as you tell these stories, give some expertise, and then talk about what your business does. So one of the things I would like to say is come off, especially if you're coming into LinkedIn and any platform for that matter, come on strong and give more of a good starting point, like a 70-30, 80-20, and maybe 90-10. You're going to just go out there strong, giving so much help and just showcasing you and your stories and connecting with people. That's really what we want to do in this day and age. It's just giving the quality over the quantity. The C word is used way too much on LinkedIn. We're going to file consistency into Michelle's jargon jar. I'm replacing consistency with commitment, okay? What keeps you in the game is that emotional tie-in and connection of why you are showing up. Why are you in business? Why are you building your personal brand? Why are you doing all this? Because there's a bigger mission, your brand North Star. That's your commitment and the driving force that helps you get into posting instead of the commitment, okay? Back in 2021, I was posting every single day as that challenge. Now I'm about 3 to 4 times. And hey, I am not embarrassed to say if I'm traveling or need a creator break, I do that. but then I follow it up with commenting because that's a form of content. But worrying about the 70-30, 80-20, 90-10, you're going to be okay if you stay in those realms at first. Now, today's actionable tips. Here's some take action advice. We've talked about the importance of building your personal and business brand, the power of two. If you have not yet picked up the LinkedIn branding book, it is a year out and still evergreen and really helpful if you're ready to get out and show up on LinkedIn and on social media for that matter. But really know your audience. Your content is going to be so much more resonating, and specificity sells, you've heard me say. What do they want? What are they interested in? And I can bet that they're not going to turn away from a personal story journey that is woven with business insights and your personal approach to things. We need that more than ever. So the next thing is, of course, don't be afraid to balance your personality with your professional experience. The professional coined word I created a couple years ago, that's what we're striving for. Now, we want to mix it up that we're going to have personal content and business content, but they go hand in hand. So there's a way to more lead about, maybe have a testimonial or share a client win, and then you can start talking about what you do. We're not being promotional here. We're telling stories, showcasing ourselves, other people, that is definitely applied, that people start realizing without you pushing it on them. Wow, this business is exactly what I need. Val is exactly the person who could help me. She really gets it. So all these sprinklings of your personal and professional really resonate and really help you reach the people you're here to reach. Now, again, quality over quantity. LinkedIn's algorithm had a significant change in the summer, and now it's reported that reach is down, but don't worry about that stuff. We're writing for humans and not the algorithm. You don't have to feel the need if you don't want to show up every single day. Show up and give a really good post. A couple times a week, comment, of course, as much as you can, because that keeps you in the feed, being top of mind. And also, don't be afraid to experiment. You're never going to know unless you try. And also, dare I say, don't be afraid if you take the advice of everything you read on LinkedIn and see if it actually works for you. So keep everything in mind. One other tip is try not to consume too many points of view and too much content. It'll just keep you spinning. It's all about staying in your lane, who you're here to help, and really just have fun with it. You should never feel that content is a chore. It is our connection point, so people know that we are here to help them. We're authorities in what we do. We have personal stories. We're relatable, all those things. Also, too, another thing to consider is if you don't like writing, don't write. If you like showing up and talking, do an audio event or a podcast or a video. It shouldn't be a struggle. Thank you, Val, for this important question on balancing your personal brand, business brand content on LinkedIn, considering what you need to look for, what's a good split to get started, and some really high-level things you should be thinking about so that you're reaching the right people, you're not burning out, and also you're having fun. Because it really is supposed to be a fun thing, getting to know people, starting conversations, and at the end of the day, getting to where you need to be. That's the vehicle. Content is a vehicle. It shouldn't be a commodity. It should be a connection point. All right, everybody. So that's another quick episode. It's good to be back solo. I will be back next week with another guest. But in the meantime, if you have a question like Val did, in the show notes is a link where you can fill out a form. You'll get a shout out and get your name out there. It's one way to get visible. If you're an expert guest who can solve a personal branding question or roadblock that listeners have, there's a link to that too. So everybody, as I always say, keep putting yourself out there. You have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. I'll be back next week. Take care. That's a wrap for today's brand therapy session. Are you ready to get visible and build your personal brand? Then head on over to thebrandtherapist.io and grab my free resources to get unstuck and get going today. And until next time, thanks for listening.